Formula One is back after a short 1 week break for round 3 of the season, that being the Japanese Grand Prix. And it was only a short break between rounds 2 and 3. I'm sure nothing happened between then, and we could all carry on as normal for this season. There's a joke here, isn't there? Now, truthfully, perhaps I'm exaggerating, but you really got to give credit to the sport when it's due. Every time there's even just a 1 week break, crazy shit always goes down. Jonathan Wheatley has cited personal reasons, such as finances being why he left Audi. Max betrayed Formula One and slept with his shy sister, and speaking of, Max has also declared war on the free press. A lot of current and former Red Bull guys in the news, huh? Anyways, round 3 Japan has all the makings to be a fun weekend. The season has started with 2 brilliant rounds of racing where we see constant action and driver skill being more prevalent than ever. Also, depending on who you ask, the season has started with 2 terrible rounds where we see constant artificial racing that takes no skill at all because ChatGPT determines the racing. Formula One, I love my civil and critical discussions. I really don't care what you think of the racing. Either you love it or hate it, which influences your decision to watch it or not. At least I hope it does. Either way, my job is just to recap the weekend and find the winners and losers. The previous 2 rounds, regardless of what you thought about them, have gotten the ball rolling in F1, and the season does look to be one to keep a big eye on. I don't want to say remember yet because there ain't no title fight or anything, and for all we know, the season can suddenly become boring and trash, but for sure we need to continue watching how the sport evolves in this new period. The first 2 rounds saw Mercedes as the ultra dominant team, with Ferrari being a distant second, who themselves have a gap to McLaren and Red Bull, who round out the top teams. This leaves us in an interesting state since the racing is fun to watch, albeit it does get kind of predictable after a while. With every race start, Ferrari will be competitive with Mercedes and give us great action. However, once the race starts entering the attrition phase, Merc shows their superiority in strategy and car performance, who win the race easily. During that time, McLaren, whenever they start a race, and Red Bull, whenever they finish a race, fight each other for good points. I think Japan can be a good continuation of this, so let's find that out by recapping the weekend and finding some yummy winners and losers. Subscribe if you're new if you love apples, and let's get to quacking now.
See those clouds up in the corner? That's where the rain is coming from.
As always, people, every week of F1 starts with the same old PR stuff, which usually has nothing big happening. However, I do say usually, since once in a blue moon, depending on what happens, Media Day on Thursday can genuinely be more exciting than any day of racing. The most recent example of this, in my opinion, was during the 2024 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, where after tensions peaked in the previous round at Qatar between George and Max, George Russell went on the interview saying how dangerous Max is as a person and how scary he is. Ooh. Max then refuted, saying George is just some dipshit prick who's a loser. Also, check it, yo. While you're on my dick saying how bad I am, I just announced that I'm pregnant with my girlfriend. Who's the real winner now, bitch? It was some shit you would see on Drive to Survive, but actually happened in real time. Like, that is just too crazy. Well, I don't think an incident like that has happened again. However, we did get pretty close. Heading into the weekend, Max just completed a GT3 race where he initially won with his team. However, got disqualified after using 7 sets of tires instead of 6, which, by the way, such a stupid mistake that I'm so convinced it was intentional. Anyways, Max is maybe not the joys to people heading into the weekend. So what happens in Media Duty Day? Before a single word is spoken, Max points out a reporter and says, "Fuck you in particular, get out of my sight or else I won't participate." So reluctantly, the reporter leaves and Max is now happy. Plot twist though, the reporter kicked out is the same guy who asked Max after Abu Dhabi last year, where he lost the title by 2 points, if he regrets crashing into George in Spain, since the points he would have gotten had he not crashed likely would have won him the title. In fairness, I don't think that is the most appropriate of questions to ask him during Abu Dhabi, but he's a reporter, they're just doing their job. So Max kicking him out months later for still being mad about that question? Brother, what are you doing? You just seem very immature doing that. Like, dude, it's been 3 months, get over it. Anyways, aside from this, the other big story will be Fernando Alonso reportedly giving birth. Apparently, he has been pregnant for probably 9 months, and heading into this weekend, the birth of his first child has been completed, and special report, I'm hearing the child has been named after the 71st most famous person on the planet, Dan No Skill. Big congratulations to Fernando for giving birth, and with that said, let's get into the weekend beginning with Friday and the free practices. Pre-practice 1 commences, and bro, so in case you didn't notice, I didn't mention any of the special liveries this week because I find them all to be whatever. The Haas livery is cool thanks to an appearance by my good friend Godzilla, but it's largely the same car, so whatevs. However, seeing some of these on track, the Racing Bulls cars looks like a used pad, and Mercedes? What is wrong with you? It only took Total Wolff 13 years as team principal to finally order a Wolff-themed livery and merchandise package for Mercedes, and when they finally did, ew. I mean, it was always going to be corny, but the actual designs are just so trash. Look on the bright side though, the clearance bin at Ross is finally going to be a good way to get cheap F1 merch. Anyways, as for the actual driving in FP1, not much happened aside from drivers getting used to the new cars at a fast track. Most drivers were caught out at the spoon curve, and Checo is clearly still getting used to being competent again. At your pace, Colt, at your pace, no worries. FP2 wasn't much different either, with Albon continuing to get rage baited by the grid and literally nothing else. So as for the running order at the end of Friday, surprise, surprise, Mercedes looked the fastest. However, for an actual surprise, Ferrari looks to be struggling for now since both Charles and Lewis are having trouble keeping the car straight. I mean, considering the driver's driving, I don't blame the car. So this leaves McLaren looking more competitive for now, but all could change as we head into Saturday for FP3 and qualifying, so let's see what's up. FP3, to no one's surprise, was nothing aside from Ollie doing a sick-ass Ollie. I don't even know if that works, so as we head into qualifying, it seems like we're on for another bore fest. And you know, Mercedes, I don't appreciate your game. Q1 seems like some fierce competition is expected with Merc, Ferrari, and McLaren, but come Q2 and Q3, Mercedes are ahead again by whole tenths. Look man, with this April break, I don't want to wait 5 weeks just to see the same gap to Mercedes. Ferrari, McLaren, step it up right now. Why not mention Red Bull, you ask? Well, when they are being genuinely outpaced by Audi, Lindblad, and Gasly, fair to say I don't have the highest hopes for them. Max seems to agree with me too, since after getting knocked out of Q2 by Lindblad ironically, he said he would need to consider life after F1 thanks to the struggle so far this year. God, if only someone had a video talking about where Max can go after F1, if only. Anyways, Mercedes got pole again, but not with George, with Kimi yet again by a big gap to George, and if this year can see superior one-lap pace from Kimi and superior race pace from George, I fear this season will still be exciting, Merc domination or not. Anyways, it's time for Sunday, race day. Let's see if all 22 cars can actually start on the grid this time. Lap 1 begins, and guess what? All 22 cars make it finally. Racism has been solved, guys. Anyways, as expected, Mercedes completely botched a start yet again, which this time allows Pastry to go through for the lead with Charlie Kirk getting up to second. Max Verstappen also finally started the race, but is getting cockblocked by Gasly in 7th. Several laps pass, and George Russell finally gets back up to Pastry, who overtakes, but uh-oh, big dick alert. Oscar Piastri gets him back and stays ahead. Kimi is also struggling to get back ahead of Leclerc, so we do have some good racing. However, not as good as China and Australia, which is to be expected since the last time Suzuka gave us entertainment, I was months old. Anyways, not like this is trash, since we are seeing brilliant defending from both Oscar and Leclerc, and as we head into the pit stops, could they actually stay ahead? Leclerc boxes with Kimi staying out, and Piastri pits with Russell staying out, as the Mercs plan to go long and lose track position in favor for tire life. So George Russell finally pits, but right when he does, safety car is deployed due to Barron crashing at Spoon Curve thanks to Colapinto dropping like a stone, and whoa, has Mercedes finally been dealt a bad hand? Well, no, not at all. Kimi has now been blessed with a free stop and stays out in the lead. So safety car is in, and Kimi starts darting off in the distance while Hamilton decides to annoy George this time. Not for long though, since now George is trying to get third from Charles, while Lando and Lewis fight for 5th. So the race calms down now, and as it ends, Kimi wins yet another race, while Oscar in his first race this year gets second, and third place goes to Charles, who holds firm from George. Overall, the worst race definitely so far, but again man, Suzuka is just bad for racing action. Beautiful to watch, sure, but I want racing action. Give me Fuji. Now for the winners and losers first as always, and I begin with Aston Martin. 6 for 6, you know. I mean, do I have a whole lot to say? Sure, maybe Jonathan Wheatley is coming in soon, but like, I just feel nothing. The way I feel about Aston is how I feel about modern Star Wars. No matter what they do, they could show the coolest new thing, like, wow guys, here's Honda and a really edgy car, but like, I feel nothing because it's all for nothing. nothing. The team is too destabilized right now. No one is working together. Nothing is just working in general. It's too sad, man. Aston is to blame. Honda is to blame. Strolls are to blame. Everyone is to blame. I feel nothing. Next up is Williams, who are just making no progress whatsoever. Like Aston, I'm pretty sure they have a streak going on too, and if I'm being honest, this one saddens me way more. Like, Williams had all the makings for a good year this year, but instead, they're so disappointing. Williams, in my head, are not qualifying 16th and 17th or finishing in bumfuck nowhere doing nothing. They are fighting for big points and continuing to rise. Reality is often disappointing, and perhaps I'm in delusion, which is weird because I'm not even a Williams fan. I just want the underdogs to do good, but as it stands, ain't shit good. But it don't have to be like this forever. James Ayu was able to steer the ship back on course once, and I see no reason why he can't do it again. Williams have ultimately identified their issues, and with the big 5-week break coming up, I at least am expecting big upgrades to hit that will start seeing Williams be more competitive with everyone else. I still believe in you guys, don't worry. Next is Ollie Behrman, whose good form has finally stopped seemingly. Ollie, for the first 2 rounds, has been nothing short than sensational. I mean, he's literally been best of the rest in both rounds so far, and it seemed like it would continue. Has looked competitive in Suzuka. However, Ollie did look off. From the free practices, he looked a bit uncomfortable in the car, and as we headed into qualifying, nothing really changed. But to qualify down in P18, that I did not see coming. I thought an off weekend would have been like qualifying and finishing like P12, but qualifying in P18 and having a large whack in the race, man. It goes to show that despite his brilliance, we cannot expect the world from these rookies yet, which I will touch on again in the winter section, but Ollie for sure had a dud weekend, his first one of the year. That crash was obviously not his fault, and it's great he's okay, but aside from that, the entire weekend just wasn't much either. Next, I have George Russell, who, where have I seen this story before? Preseason favorite being touted is being beaten by a significantly inexperienced teammate. God, if only there was a season where this exact dynamic played out. What George needs to do right now is simple. Just drive, man. Don't try to win, just drive and let the car lead you to results. When you're trying to lock in as much as possible to win, ironically, you just do the opposite. The best thing about Max's dominance or Lewis's dominance was the fact that they just drove. They drove the car to its maximum, and it was beautiful. But with Lando and now maybe George, they're just trying too hard to do good that it makes them do bad. George made too many mistakes this weekend, not to mention a bit of bad luck, but where that bad luck could have happened to him in P2, it happens to him in P4, which is everything Kimi wants. I know George can get out of this slump soon, and perhaps a month is what he needs. Don't write him off just yet. Finally, I have Max Verstappen. Look, I don't think this is too crazy to say. The guy has been bloody miserable since the season started. He hates these cars. He hates the batteries. Bro would rather be doing anything else but driving these cars currently. And being knocked out in Q2 and out-qualified by Hadjar 3 times out of 4 so far, it's just not working for Max. I won't write Max off for true this season yet, since for all we know, he could dominantly win in Miami and be a 5-time world champion come season's end. However, it is undeniably bleak for him, and with Max saying things like he needs to reconsider his future in F1 depending on the sport's direction, I just think he's done with the whole F1 thing. But I will say, if Max does the Sonny Hayes method of being a freelance driver, then I guess Red Bull better keep his seat warm for his return in 2058. Also, Max kicking out that reporter kinda already made him a loser regardless of results, so yeah, you can't even argue with me since even the Red Bull team agreed it was stupid for crying out loud. Now for the winners, and I begin with Mercedes. Well, there is Kimi. I saw that after Kimi got pole, people were like, oh yeah, it's his time now. George won't know what's coming. God, if only there was a recent example of a new driver outperforming his experienced teammate that eventually ended in them succumbing to pressure and losing it. Look, praise Kimi, absolutely, but don't start saying he'll be champion this year or even touting him for it. He is 19 years old in his second year of F1. When, not if, when he does commit big mistakes in the races or qualifyings, don't act like this is him being washed or not built for F1. Like Ollie Behrman, he still needs time in the oven before he's fully ready to take the world by storm, so don't pile on pressure too early, since if we do, he will just be underbaked and disappointing. Patience, people, patience. But regardless, just another clean job from Kimi. Sure, the bad start, but when he got back up ahead, he just disappeared. That is talent, do not deny that, and I am excited to see what's next for him. Next is McLaren, who, praise the Lord, finally started the race with both cars, and they were pretty damn competitive too. McLaren, I felt, were always going to be tricksters this year, if that's the correct term. They're not going to be so competitive in every race where they fight for big points with the top runners. However, they certainly are capable once in a while, conveniently, in the worst times for the other contenders. McLaren were just that this week, since in a weekend where Ferrari needed to be competitive with Mercedes, they had a McLaren-shaped problem right in front of them, clogging where they needed to be. If McLaren can add a few finishing touches to their car, they could be in a position where Ferrari and Merc, if they mess up even once, now have a McLaren-shaped problem in front of them all the time and won't be an easy one to remove. That would be sweet, especially with Oscar, who is probably the best overtaker on the grid currently, but maybe it's a little bit too unrealistic still. I mean, for Pete's sakes, Lando is on his millionth battery in round 3 and Oscar barely got his season rolling. So let's have some patience, but I do like the direction McLaren are going in, as long as they stop messing with Ferrari. Next is Pierre Gasly. Guys, I don't really have much to say here. I mean, what can I say? Pierre just did what he usually does. He showed up, he did everything the team asked for, and left. I mean, he is just too good, especially over one lap, since this qualifying was definitely his highlight. I mean, qualifying a 10th behind Hamilton and 6th should not go unnoticed. He also comfortably qualified ahead of Hadjar in 8th, and Pierre really is the king of the midfield, which does suck for him, since I think he would do really well in a top car now, but what are you gonna do about it? He blew his chance with Red Bull, and it feels like every top team, along with Albon for that matter, wouldn't touch them with a 500-foot long pole, but he could still shine in the midfield, and that is what Pierre is excelling at. He schools his competition and then just goes home. It really is nice to see him back scoring points. Next is Esteban Ocon, who I don't even know if he should be here. I'll keep it short since I genuinely have little to talk about, but Ocon just did what he should. When Barron was having his struggles, Ocon was thankfully there for Haas to get points, but it was just a P10. Plus, qualifying wasn't too exciting, so I just don't know how to feel about his weekend. An improvement, definitely, but just nothing spectacular. If he performs like this again, he will not be a winner, since this is exactly what should be expected from him. So yeah, Ocon, don't let me down again, buddy. Finally, I have Arvid Lindblad. Guess what I'm gonna say? Arvid did good. Don't mean he's perfect, ease the pressure. Okay, with that out the way, Arvid is just impressing me regardless. I have been a Lindblad truther since 2024, and seeing him perform how he is currently, it just makes me so happy. I really love his attitude too. Like, he looked Lando dead in the eyes in 2021 and said, expect me in 5 years, and everything he said came true. Yes, he got massively shafted by the safety car in the race, but had that not happened, he would have gotten points and was firmly better than Liam all week long, so let's see if better luck can happen in Miami. Now for my bonus category, and I choose the alpha category for the driver who showed why they have the biggest hog, and I choose Kimi Antonelli. Inside of you, there are two wolves, George Russell and Kimi Antonelli. It's important you unleash your inner Kimi Antonelli. Finally, let's see how my predictions ended up. My qualifying predictions were wrong, but hey, Lando and George were right. My race predictions were all out of order. My Rhino prediction was just dead wrong. Your predictions were sort of right for people like, let me see, Saddam Hussein. So congratulations to you, buddy, I guess. And finally, my bingo card is without a hit, I think. So those were my winners and losers from Japan. Man, it is gonna suck how we now have to wait like a whole month until the next race, which is in Miami of all places. So we better buckle up, kids. Spring slop is upon us. But even then, there are for sure going to be developments in the season during this break and potentially an FIA change to the reg, so it's not like it'll be too quiet. Anyways, I want to give a quick shout out to all members of the flock for the continued support, and make sure to join if you want cool benefits as well as just helping me out. Anyways, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe since it really helps me out. Make sure to let me know in the comments what you think of this, and as always, have an amazing day.
Good weather for the duck.